Okay, in the previous class we had seen about diamagnetism, correct? So under diamagnetism we came all the way till superconductors, if you can remember. So there I wanted to tell you one more simple point. Okay, now diamagnetism, we saw the diamagnetic material, it moves from a stronger field to a weaker field because you have a net magnetic moment of the material which is in the opposite to the which will be in the opposite direction to that of the external magnetic field, right? So this, if this is the direction of the external magnetic field, fine. Right, now coming to superconductors, as you know, say this is the superconductor, okay, then you will notice that if you keep it in an external magnetic field, okay, so you will see the magnetic field will not be allowed inside, okay, it feels that way, right? So because of the, the net magnetic field developed due to the arrangement of the dipoles and the external magnetic field, both of them cancels, okay, cancels out, so that you won't see any magnetic field inside the superconducting material, right? Now this fact, or you can say this property, where a superconducting material expels the magnetic field completely, okay, expels the magnetic field completely, we'll also call it as Meissner effect. Okay, so it is named after its inventor, okay, Meissner, right? It's named after the discoverer, all right? So this is one property of any superconducting material, okay? This is one property of any superconducting material. So what are superconductors? Basically they have low resistance, or you can say high electrical conductivity. Apart from that, they will expel magnetic field from them, okay? So you don't see any even if you keep it in an external magnetic field, you will realize that there is no magnetic field inside the superconductor. So that is one property which is defined for, which is always true for any superconducting material. So that property, what we will call it as Meissner effect, okay, fine, right? And the same here, as you know, this magnet is actually ripple. If you bring a bar magnet very close to this superconducting material, it will get repelled by that it will be repelled by the bar magnet, and the bar magnet will also, the superconductor will also repel that bar magnet. This application, or this Meissner effect, we will take it for, we will use it in magnetic levitation, okay, fine, right? And let us continue in today's class. Let us go for the next topic. So we'll go to paramagnetism, okay? Now what are paramagnetic materials and what is paramagnetism? Let us try to understand, okay? Now paramagnetism, it's simple. So here, if you see in diamagnetism, right, in diamagnetism what we observed was, in the absence of external magnetic field, okay, so if you simply take a sample diamagnetic material, right, so the net magnetic moment will be zero, okay, or you can say there is no magnetization. And also, if you can recall from the animation, there you have studied the each and every atom, right? So the each and every atom, it will be having some magnetic moment, correct, some magnetic moment that can be treated as the vector sum of all the orbital magnetic moment of the electrons, okay? Electrons will have orbital magnetic moment, right? Now in diamagnetic materials, the atom, if you consider a single atom or a molecule, right, now let us say atom, right, now the atomic magnetic moment will be zero for a diamagnetic material. This is known, and you have seen the why it is zero also in animations, right? So the magnetic moment of an atom will be zero in diamagnetic materials, but in case of paramagnetic materials, this magnetic moment of an atom will not be zero, it will be of some finite quantity. And this for example, if you consider this as the paramagnetic material, right, just like what happened in diamagnetism, or you can not in diamagnetism, so generally, okay, so when we defined just magnetism, correct, what was that? Magnetism will say the net magnetic moment per unit volume. So there we took a general material, so we did not say whether it is diamagnetic, paramagnetic, like that, correct? So in paramagnetism what happens is, say these are the individual magnetic moments of the atoms. Okay, now due to the thermal vibration, okay, due to thermal vibration, what you will see is that all these atomic moments, okay, atomic magnetic moments, okay, so they will be in random direction and they will always be in constant state of vibration. Okay, now due to that, okay, due to that, on an average, if you consider the net magnetic moment, it will always be zero. Okay, in the absence of external magnetic field. Okay, say you have a paramagnetic material in your hand. Okay, at the atomic level, this is what you see. The atom, it will be having its own magnetic moment value. Okay, it is not zero, just like in unlike in your diamagnetic material. Okay, it has some value, but due to the temperature, okay, at any given temperature, say a good amount of temperature, right, so there will be constant, the atoms will be in constant state of vibration, constant state of motion, you can say. Now due to that, the vector sum, okay, so this m net, you can take it as the vector sum of, okay, vector sum of individual atomic magnetic moments. Okay, atomic magnetic moments. So this will actually turn out to be zero. Okay, now what happens when you keep it in the external magnetic field? Let us try to see. Right, now when you keep this paramagnetic material in an external magnetic field, okay, now say this is the paramagnetic material. Now you are keeping it in an external magnetic field, right? So say this is the external magnetic field, B external, let us say, right? Now what you will notice is that these individual atomic magnetic moments, they will start aligning, okay, they will start aligning in the direction of the external magnetic field. Okay, they will start aligning in the direction of not all of them, okay, few of them, okay, few of them will start aligning in the direction of the external magnetic field. Okay, now because of this, you will start seeing, okay, you will start seeing some magnetization. Okay, now this magnetization, it will be, again, as you know, we'll denote it by like this per unit volume. So this will start getting increase, it will increase. Okay, you will see some net magnetization now, which is not zero, because this net magnetic moment, which is the resultant of all the atomic magnetic moments, is not zero, it will be finite. Okay, so therefore, to define it in a very simple way, paramagnetic materials, okay, paramagnetic materials, they tend to move from, okay, paramagnetic materials, they move from weaker magnetic field towards stronger magnetic field. Okay, if you keep the paramagnetic material in non-uniform magnetic field, that is external magnetic field, okay, they move from weaker magnetic field to stronger magnetic field. Okay, weaker magnetic field to stronger magnetic field. Okay, weaker magnetic field to stronger magnetic field. All right, fine. And you can also say this at least from the magnetization, if you observe, okay, now these paramagnetic substances or paramagnetic materials, okay, they are weakly magnetized. Paramagnetic materials are weakly magnetized when you keep them in the external magnetic field. Okay, when you keep them in the external magnetic field. Okay, now you can actually see the again, coming to magnetization, what we will write is this. So you know, magnetization, that is the net magnetic field, right? So B, correct? So B, will write it as mu naught, the total magnetic field inside the sample, internal as well as external. Okay, so we wrote it as mu naught mu r h, right? Now mu r, what we will write, 1 plus chi m, okay, into h, right? Fine. Now if you look at the values of the magnetic susceptibility of paramagnetic materials, okay, so experimentally we have determined it like this. The values are given here. Paramagnetic substances, it's in page number 191. Okay, see, you can see is that for diamagnetic, susceptibility is negative, so in this column you have negative values, but here for paramagnetic you have positive. But look at the power. Okay, so it is 10 power minus 5, 10 power minus 5, 10 power minus 4, and oxygen 10 power minus 6. So these are the examples: aluminium, calcium, what is that, oxygen, okay, then chromium, these are lithium. So these are examples for paramagnetic substances, right? Now just like how we saw the decrease in magnetic field, okay, inside the diamagnetic material, same way the increase in magnetic field, or you can say the increase in magnetic field, or you can say the total, yeah, you can write the increase in magnetic field, okay, the increase in magnetic field is 1 in 10 power 5. So the increase is very, very less, okay. The rise in the magnetic field due to the alignment of dipoles, okay, due to this alignment of dipoles, it is actually quite less, fine. So therefore the increase is 1 part in 10 power 5 parts. All right, so this is what we see for paramagnetic materials, right? Now apart from this, okay, apart from this, what you can say is this magnetization, okay, magnetization in paramagnetic materials is not only dependent on, let me write, is not only dependent on the type of material, it is not only dependent on the type of material, but also, okay, but also on the temperature, okay, but also on the temperature, right? Now this has been verified, this has been determined experimentally, okay. Now what in general what we have seen is that if you take this sample, okay, now let us take the same diagram, right? Now if the strength of the magnetic field, see this B external, it tells you the external magnetic field. Now if you increase the strength, what might happen? If you increase the strength of the external magnetic field, you will see more and more dipoles will start arranging. Now this dipole and this dipole also, they will start arranging, okay, and you will see the net magnetic moment will actually increase, correct? So this net magnetic moment, it will also increase, right? Fine. So this net magnetic moment, it will start increasing if you increase the external magnetic field, right? Now this is one way how you can increase the magnetization, or you can say this magnetization is dependent on, you can say it is directly proportional to your external magnetic field, okay. So this you can easily understand just by understanding the alignment of dipoles, okay. So more is the strength of the magnetic field, more and more dipoles will, atomic dipoles, it will start arranging in the direction of the external magnetic field, okay. So then the net magnetic moment increases, so consequently the magnetization will also increase, right? Now apart from that, this magnetization for your paramagnetic materials, right, it is also dependent on temperature. Now it has been verified experimentally that this magnetization M, okay, this magnetization M, it is inversely proportional to the temperature, okay, it is inversely proportional to temperature. Now taking into account both of them, that is M is proportional to B external and M is inversely proportional to T, right? Now you can write, clubbing these two, you can write M is proportional to the external magnetic field and inversely proportional to the temperature, right? Now this relation, whatever you have, you can call it as Curie's law, okay. It is also called as Curie's law, okay. Now it was found out by, this relation was given by the man named Pierre Curie, okay. Now you know he's the husband of Pierre Curie, right? He's the husband of Marie Curie, you know her, right? So she was quite active in the field of radioactivity, right? Now this person, he was studying magnetism in detail, right? So hence it is called as Curie's law, right? Now if you remove the proportionality constant, we will get M is equal to CB external, okay, CB external divided by T, okay. In your book they have written this B external as B naught. B naught they have considered it as the external magnetic field. If you want, we will write it that way, no problem. So B naught will write, this is B naught. Now the C, okay, this C whatever you have here, this one we'll call it as Curie's constant. Okay, this one we'll call it as Curie's constant. All right, fine. Okay, now from this expression you can easily find out that there are two things on which your magnetization depends. If you increase the external magnetic field, magnetization will increase, and if you can write, if B naught is increased, magnetization will increase, and if T is increased, okay, if temperature is increased, then magnetization decreases. Okay, magnetization decreases, right? Now why this happens means, again you can try to give the answer in terms of the vibration. So more is the temperature. Temperature being a macroscopic quantity, it can be related to kinetic energy of the particles of the system, correct? Kinetic energy of the particles, right? Now more temperature means more kinetic energy, more random motion, right? More random motion, right? So because of the increase in temperature, so the disturbance, that is they will try to align in one particular direction because of the external magnetic field. External magnetic field always tries to align the dipoles in so that the dipole moment vector will be in the direction of the external magnetic field, but temperature constantly tries to disturb it. Okay, so therefore more is the temperature, more is the disturbance, more will be the misalignment. Okay, more will be the misalignment of the dipole. So hence you can say temperature brings down the magnetization. Okay, now this equation you can also write it in one more way. This equation can also be written as, now magnetization. Magnetization we also can also write it as chi h, right? Now this will be equal to C. B naught we'll write it as mu naught h. Okay, now the whole thing divided by T. Now you can cancel h and h here. So the magnetic susceptibility, right? The magnetic susceptibility of your or is that paramagnetic substances. Paramagnetic substances, it is given as C mu naught divided by T. Okay, so you need to remember this. Fine, C mu naught divided by T. So this is about paramagnetic materials, and there is one more interesting question to ask. What happens? Okay, what happens if you? Now there is one more possibility to increase the magnetization. Okay, to increase the magnetization, keeping external field constant. So what can that be? So here you can say this magnetization can be increased keeping the external field constant by lowering the temperature. Okay, when you are lowering the temperature, what are you doing? So lowering the temperature means you are trying to reduce the vibrations of the individual atoms, correct? So magnetization M, right? So magnetization M, we'll write it as CB divided by T, correct? So if you lower the temperature, magnetization will increase. Okay, fine. Now what do you mean by magnetization? Basically, magnetization is the net magnetic moment per unit volume, right? Now what happens when you see all the samples in the material, paramagnetic material, have arranged in a direction external, in the direction of the external magnetic field. Okay, say this is the direction of the external magnetic field. Now you will see all the dipoles, magnetic dipoles, have arranged in the direction of the external magnetic field. Then you can say that when you get the when you see all the dipoles have arranged in the direction of the external magnetic field, so then you will say you got the maximum value of net magnetic moment, correct? What is net magnetic moment? Vector sum of all these magnetic moments. Okay, net magnetic moment will be maximum. Okay, so when you see the net magnetic moment is maximum, okay, so beyond that, okay, beyond that you don't beyond that value you cannot increase this value. Okay, this value cannot be increased beyond that. Okay, by varying the temperature or increasing the, by lowering the temperature or increasing the magnetic field. Okay, I think you got the idea. Already the magnetic individual atomic magnetic moments have arranged. Okay, so this itself will give you the maximum value of magnetization from this relation. Okay, so even if you after that, if you keep lowering the temperature or if you keep increasing the external magnetic field, will it have any effect on magnetization M? This one, the magnetization M? No, it doesn't have any effect, because already the magnetization has reached its maximum value. Okay, so therefore this relation, right? So this formula, whatever we have written here, okay, so this formula it will be valid, okay, it will be valid up to a point where you have reached the maximum limit for magnetization. Okay, so say this is the or you can say when we write ms, so it will tell you the saturated value of, you can say it is the saturated value of magnetization. Okay, now beyond that this equation, it doesn't seem to be valid, correct? So even if you lower temperature and increase the magnetic field, you don't see the magnetic magnetization going beyond this value. Okay, so therefore we will say this m, okay, so is equal to Cb divided by T, right? M is equal to Cb divided by T is not valid if m is greater than or equal to saturated value of magnetization. Okay, so this thing you need to remember. Fine. So Curie's law is not valid after the saturated value or the maximum value of magnetization is reached. Okay, so that is what you need to remember. So they may ask for 2 marks. What is the limitation of Curie's law considering paramagnetic substances? So then you can write this. It is valid until the maximum value of magnetization is reached, the saturated value of magnetization is reached. After that it is not valid. Okay, so that is what you can write. Fine. Yeah. Okay, let us see ferromagnetism in the next class.